What's up, Pepper Crew? I know it's been a while since I've posted on this channel, and I do apologize for that. Going forward, I am going to try to at least once a week post what my sales week looks like. It may be a while before I can get back to doing regular content again, just in the middle of making some changes around my house, things like that. But I'm going to at least try to start trying to post once a week here. So this week's going to be my sales week for April 28th through May 4th. If you haven't already and you're watching now, just make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and you'll at least get a little bit of content each week. Thank you so much. Let's get started. So this was my first sale of on Sunday, and my only sale on Sunday. A pair of Levi's 560 blue jeans, 42.30 was the tag, as you can see here, 42.30. But when they measured out to be 40.30s. So as you can see here, let me zoom in on this picture. Just straight across the waist, it came about 20. So if you double that up, you're going to get about 40. So I did 40.30. These sold almost full price. I'm running a 20% sale off, so these sold at $29.99, whatever the 20% off is there. For shipping on heavier clothing, I do a flat rate of $8.99. That helps make up some of my shipping costs, also storage fees, things like that. And sometimes it helps balance out for longer distance ships and things like that. But you can also use flat rate padded if it's going a longer distance, and ground advantage ends up costing you more than the $8.99. So it gives you a few options there. So this was the first sale, $29.99 for Levi's 560s. My favorite cost of goods, $0. So next up is a praise hymn soundtrack. So these are like backing tracks for singing gospel music in churches and things like that. Picked up a couple of boxes of these at a yard sale for about 40 cents a piece, I believe. And so this sold for $6.29, minus whatever the 20% off is there. So CDs, I try to get the best picture I can of the underside. If it's even got a few scratches on it, I tend to just not sell it. I can't quite afford one of those resurfacing machines yet. And most of the CDs I sell really aren't worth the hassle of resurfacing and all that other stuff. So this is Spoken For, Mercy Me, Praise Hymns CD. Next up, I have Swing Low, Sweet Chariot by Leontine Price, LP vinyl record. I picked this up at a yard sale a couple of years ago, several boxes of records. And so most of them are just kind of old ones like this. I paid about 25 cents a piece when it all came down to it. And I just recently listed most of my records that I had. Take a little bit of time to work through my death pile. This one sold at the $5.99 plus whatever the 20% off is. If you notice here, I charge $5. I do a $5 flat rate shipping on that, even though these ship media mail, which works out to be $4.13. Mailers for LPs and things like that can be a little bit expensive. So I build in a little bit of extra cost just for the sake of making up my cost of shipping supplies. Next up, this was Microsoft Office Outlook 2007 with product key. This one sold for $19.99 plus whatever the 20% off was. This one, I do a flat rate for anything under £1 that goes ground advantage. I tend to try to do flat rate $6.19. That makes up my cost for whatever zone it goes to. So I may pay a little bit more if it goes to Washington or something like that. But I try to, when I do my flat rate costs, I try to do it in such a way that it can save me a little bit of money here and there and make up for shipping supplies and things like that. So this one sold, and this one is also one of my favorite cost of goods, $0. And so you want to make sure when you sell these things that they do have the product key with them, and that those product keys are no longer in use. So I had it on good authority where I got this from, that this product was no longer in use, so it sold for $19.99. Next up was a postcard, Natchez, Mississippi, Gloucester linen postcard, unposted, so it means that it wasn't shipped. So the back is blank on this. Linen postcards were popular in the 1930s, late 1930s, 1940s. So this is kind of an old card. I sold this one for $7.99 plus whatever my 20% off was, most likely. With this, I use the eBay standard shipping envelopes. And so if it's under $20, I'll use eBay standard shipping. I ship out at a 2-ounce rate. That helps me make up the cost for my sleeves that I put these in, and for the envelopes that I use. So $7.99 plus whatever the 20% off was there. All right, next up, and also on this one, I bought up probably close to somewhere around 8,000 postcards at an estate sale, and I kind of paid up. In my mind, paid up for an estate sale, but when it all works out, I'll be well into the profit on these postcards. So I paid $365, which if you're buying these things in bulk off of eBay and stuff like that, you're going to pay a lot more. So I think my average cost of goods on these were about 7 cents a postcard. So that worked out pretty good. This is Power Rangers McDonald's toy, Power Morpher buckle. I bought a bunch of these McDonald's toys on an estate sale not too long ago. I think they had three boxes of them. If I remember correctly, there's about 150 McDonald's toys in there, and I got them for about $30. And so this one sold for $5.99 plus whatever the 20% off sale is. This one shipped out at $5 standard shipping. So I believe this I use, if I remember correctly, I'm using just regular. Oh no, I did set up a separate business policy for a $5 ship on these things. So $5.99 plus the 20% off plus the $5 ship. So my average cost of goods on this was about 25 cents. And so that's what the buckle looks like. Vintage McDonald's toys. These aren't necessarily lucrative. I just kind of went on a whim because they had a bunch of them sitting there. And most of them aren't going to sell for much, but I should, in the long run, make my money back. Next up, this came in a bulk purchase that I made from a person that buys out storage units and things like that. So this was an Anne Rice collection of novels. This one sold for $22.49 plus whatever my 20% off is. And this one I do just regular calculated media mail. So this one went out at $4.87. My guess is my cost of goods was probably somewhere around $1 on this. So, all right. Moving on. VHS, Blue's Clues, Stop, Look, Listen, VHS 2000. This is one that has Steve in it. So, like, if I know that Steve is the star of the show, I put him in there because Steve is obviously the most popular one of the Blue's Clues hosts. A lot of nostalgia there. I do pick up a lot of times these old Nickelodeon VHSs. They don't sell for great, but my average cost of goods usually is about 25 to 50 cents a piece. So at $9.99 plus $4.13 calculated shipping. And so I do pick up VHSs here and there. I've gotten a little bit pickier about how I do it though now. Next up is an LP, Very Merry Christmas, Volume 8. This one sold for $5.99 plus my $5 flat rate shipping. And this was also part of that about 25-cent cost of goods. Came from that large bulk purchase of records that I bought. This came from an estate sale, True Spec Men's large, true quarter zip combat shirt, Cordura based layer black, new with tags. Picked this up for $1 at a yard sale, or estate sale, excuse me. So this appeals to that crowd that it could be somebody in security or something like that, but it's something that allows you to, I guess, do tactical things. I'm not sure. I know that sounds goofy, but who knows what this went to or to who it went to. But it sold for $49.99 plus whatever my discount was on that, 20%, and went out at my less than £1 shipping rate of $6.19. And I believe I received a positive feedback for this one as well. These next few are it was a lot purchase, so I run a sale on all my media, where it's like if you buy, I think it's more than two, I do free shipping. So even though it says $5 shipping here, this person ended up buying 4 LPs from me. And so it worked out with the free shipping on it. So this one was a Pipe Organ Favorites. This was a 25-cent cost of goods. Mahalia Jackson, The Power and the Glory. Once again, 25-cent cost of goods. Festive Music from the 18th century. Another 25-cent cost of goods. Carl Weinrich. This was some sort of organ works by Bach. So that went out at $5.99. And so all these together, I think it was about a $24 sale when everything came out on the other end. So sometimes it's good if you have a bunch of media to offer free shipping in some way, shape, or form, whether that be through bulk purchase, through volume, or whatever. I don't try to keep up with the big dogs that sell these things for 99 cents and free shipping. I don't know how they get by, but somehow they manage that. It's not worth my time selling it at that. So I try to do it through just offering good customer service, quick shipping, things like that. And also, sometimes when you order from these bulk companies, they send out a lot of really scratched up things, and so I try to check everything to make sure it's in okay condition at least. I don't pretend to be an LP grader, but I try to at least inspect it to make sure it's playable and in good condition. And that's what I listed at, as in good condition or better. That way that they can kind of determine for themselves when they get it. So, all right, Tidewater Tides snapback hat. Picked this up for $1 at a thrift store. Went for $14.99 plus whatever my 20% discount was on top of that. So this one sold rather quickly after I listed it. I think there was only 2 or 3 other listings of Tidewater Tides. I pick up hats pretty regularly because at $1 a pop or $1 or less, obviously they can be pretty lucrative, and people even buy old stained up hats and stuff like that too. So I don't sweat hats too much. It is a really flooded market, and they can be really slow sales. So just if you're going to buy them, make sure you got space to store them. And this one also went out at my $6.19 flat rate, less than £1. I ship these in 8x6x4 boxes. I also use a poly mailer that goes around it to protect it from water damage. All right, Next up is a Force of Nature DVD, 2020, from Mel Gibson. This one sold, I think the person offered $5 on it, and so I took the $5 offer, had it listed at $5.99, went out at $4.13, media mail, and so this one was still new in the shrink wrap, everything like that. DVDs are extremely slow sells, so like unless I just get a really, really deal I can't pass up on them, I usually just pass on DVDs. These average, this one was probably about a 25-cent cost of goods here. All right, next up is another postcard. This one's from Natchez, Mississippi. Devereaux postcard, chrome, unposted. And this is from obviously Natchez, Mississippi. This one sold for $4 plus my 20% off and my 88 cents shipping. This one, I believe, got a positive feedback as well. And this one was unposted. So unposted means that there's no stamp here, there's no postage, usually no writing or anything on the back. So, all right, next up is this Ralph Lauren Gregor shirt, men's large, blue short sleeve, button down plaid. This is an older listing. This one's been sitting for a while. I can tell because just the background that I used on it, hanging and stuff like that. This is probably from about a year ago at least. So this one sold for $17.99 plus my $6.19 flat rate that I use. So whatever the 20% off was on that. And so that one did finally sell. And as you can see, I do use measurements, so I show measurements. This is chest across, 23.5 inches. This is the length at 29 inches. That's sleeve length at almost 10 inches. I stopped doing sleeve length on short sleeve. I don't really think that matters for most people. So just make sure that you've got your different lengths across the chest, length, things like that. Long sleeves, it doesn't hurt to put in sleeve length, stuff like that. Sometimes people will message you for extra types of measurements and stuff. So that one sold for $17.99 plus 20% off. This one sold, and within probably 10 minutes, I got a cancellation request on it. Buyer claimed that he already had this in his collection. My guess is he probably found it for a cheaper price. So I included this one just because it did sell, but it also canceled. So I relisted, and I don't sweat cancellations. I know a lot of people get upset with cancellations and stuff like that. It's just customer service. So don't sweat a cancellation. It's buyer request cancellation. It's not a ding on your account or anything like that. So I don't sweat those things. This one sold for an offer. I believe they offered $10 on it. This one had been sitting in my store for a while as well. I picked these up at a yard sale for probably $1. And so 10 or $11 off of $1 wasn't too bad. This one went out at my 2-pound flat rate, which is $8.99. So I probably made up a little bit of that cost in shipping. This one I picked up at a yard sale for $1. Under Armour gray heat gear loose cargo shorts. These sold for $17.99 plus my 20% off. And so for $1, turnaround on that, $6.19, my flat shipping there. Not too bad of a sale. This was a $1 pickup at a thrift store. Vintage Mississippi Seniors Golf Association hat, ball cap, strap back, buckle, rope. So you see the little rope going across that. That was popular in the late 80s, early 90s. See the strap back. I use buckle to kind of describe this, but people will be able to see what kind it is. So And this one sold fairly quickly within about a week or so. 20% discount, so $14.99, not too bad of a sale for $1 purchase there. This was my final sale of the week. Woman in Red, signed by Kelly LeBrock, 8x10 press photo. This came from this is a consignment sale, so I took an offer of $40 on it. It would probably be worth a little bit more money if it wasn't already made out to somebody. This was made out to Dennis. Don't know who Dennis is, but the person that had me sell it for him, I have a deal where I get about 25% of the sale. So after all taxes and stuff like that, I probably made about $9 off of this sale. So altogether, on my week, I made a gross of $361.61. If you go through all the fees and ad fees that I have on top of that, so very few ad fees. I very rarely get sales from ad fees, but they happen occasionally. I made $182.13 net. That's after all my shipping costs, things like that. So for a part-time guy, I guess that's pretty good. An extra almost $200 in my pocket for a week. And so with all that said, I encourage anybody, as you can see, I have a very wide variety of things that I'm selling. Don't be afraid to experiment. I hear a lot of stuff about pick out high sell-through stuff. And I'll say high sell-through if I come across it. That's great. Fast sell-through, 100%. Those are great. But I have space to store things. And so I don't mind buying some of these lesser items and sitting on them, because they ultimately become bread and butter items, and they will eventually sell. I firmly believe that there is a buyer for everything on eBay. And so sometimes it's just a matter of waiting. Now, when I do buy things that are slow sellers, I tend to buy things that aren't very bulky, things that can stack and pack easily, like postcards. When I saw that there was so many boxes of postcards at this estate sale, I realized that is thousands and thousands of listings, but take up very, very, very little space in my store. And so I can list those things and I can sit on them forever and let them slowly sell through. And so I am okay with that. So all that to say is appreciate you tuning in, staying to the end of this video, and look forward to more videos to come. Talk to you later.